Recap from the last 2 weeks. Carrots have been sowed and we've still got 4 large empty beds. I've got broccoli alongside beetroots, which is next to onions. Opposite the onions, we've got spinach, carrots, broad beans and peas, next to the parsnips and loads of brassicas. And here we've got the strawberries. Today, I try and tackle this bit.
Hi, I'm Gabriella, and for a long time I have been growing fruit and vegetables in any space available to me. But after a long, impatient wait, I have finally been given an actual allotment plot to call my own, the biggest growing space yet. Subscribe now to follow my upcoming series as I transform my space, try and feed the 5,000, and learn to relax.
What I like about this space is that there is a lot of potential. So I'm sorting out all the flags, broken rock, bricks, and what I found to be paving stones. A lot of matting underneath, but I like to do a little bit as often as I can in order to spread the load, because ultimately the gardening is the fun bit. This side of my plot is south facing, and I think I'm going to put a fruit cage, blackberries, gooseberries, some raspberries and fruit trees. But first I want to figure out what's underneath. Loads of matting so far and a lot of weeds. So I'm going to run through this just to help you understand what you might be going on in your plot or in your garden. This is a dockweed. It's got large oval leaves and a really thick, long taproot. You need to dig it out really deep in order to prevent it going to seed. It likes nutritious soil and it takes a lot of effort, so make sure you dig yourself a little trench around to get it up. This edge and my beds were full of horsetail. This looks like a miniature evergreen tree coming up from the ground, and it is over 300 million years old. You're going to be tough pressed to get rid of it, but if you go down deep enough and pull out the roots that link up like a daisy chain, you will be able to slow it down and hopefully get rid of it. Bindweed is really aggressive climbing vine. It has got an extensive root system and it grows rapidly. Look out for these white roots and pull out as many as you can without breaking them. The best thing to do is to pull out the roots and then cover them over to suppress it as best you can. The dandelion, you need to get a fork underneath it and pull that whole root out. If you can't do this, make sure you remove all the yellow flowers so that it doesn't go to seed. And if you're adventurous, then why don't you try and make a nice root tea from it? Really good for the liver, but make sure you consult a doctor first. This box here was the original box around my strawberries that I moved over here temporarily to get my broccoli and beetroot in. However, because I want an archway structure, I'm going to borrow the strawberry bed and put it over here so that I can actually install my structure easily. I've just dug out the legs so that they can go into the ground, and that way I can then pin the stakes into the corners of this bed and the bed opposite to allow me to put my cattle panelling up. I'm using 8 6-foot posts and push them into the corners. Now to go down 1 foot and they are 5 foot above ground. And actually putting this little box here has given me extra space to grow my vertical green beans. This wire cattle panelling was a Facebook find for a whopping £5. I've measured out 4.5 metres to go up, over and down, and then I've just secured it with a brick and using wire clippers to cut off my piece. I've then done this twice to give me 2 archways down the centre of my path. If you were to link your fingers together and push your palms down, that is how I have threaded the cattle panel through the stakes on both sides to create my new archway. Now with my trusty helper, this was actually quite easy, and the first one went up lovely, and the second one has just made it look exactly how I imagined it.
Sit. Yay!